Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Zaku News here on the USA Gundam TV channel. Today is August 5th, Wednesday. Usually I like to put these episodes out every other Monday, but we're doing it on a Wednesday this week just because it's a little bit different for my personal schedule this week. Anyway, it's good that I waited because yesterday we got some really big news, yesterday being Tuesday, which wouldn't have been included if I did this episode on Monday. So we got some really big news regarding the new kits of the walking Gundam, the 1-to-1 scale walking Gundam that they're constructing in Yokohama in Japan. So we'll talk about those. Today we have all P Bandai stuff to talk about. No standard new releases have been announced since our past episode 2 weeks ago, so let's just get right into it. First of all, talking about something different though, talking about the P Bandai Gundarium Alloy 1/44 scale RX-78-2 Gundam. So this is something that they're releasing for the Gunpla 40th anniversary to celebrate this. This is going to be out in December for a whopping 220,000 yen. So around $2,000, over $2,000. Anyway, right around there. $2,000 for a 1/144 scale RX-78-2 Gundam. I have to imagine that probably none of you are going to be interested in this. I don't know if how many people will watch these videos. Maybe a couple of you are interested in this, but I don't know. Dropping $2,000. If it was $200, maybe. But 2,000. Whew. For this is pretty insane. So basically, what it is, it's a new metal injection molding is what they're doing for this. So all of the armor parts are all going to be actual metal. And then they're using plastic, actual ABS plastic, actually, for the inner frame parts. So like the joints and things will be ABS plastic, and then all the armor parts will be in this metal. But strangely, you can see in one of the pictures they're showing the ABS plastic runner, and like the leg frame is just like one solid piece of like leg frame there. So there's no knee articulation in there. So I'm not really sure what the point is of making the joints in plastic if they don't move, if there's no like actual moving joints in it. But I think there will be a little bit of movement in a couple of the parts, but essentially it's just going to be a static statue. So why they didn't just make it all entirely out of metal, I don't know. That's kind of weird. It does also include a couple other things. It includes a clear acrylic base for it, which is pretty cool. I'll admit the base is pretty cool for that. And then it also includes an authenticity guarantee card, so that I guess if you were ever to resell this later, you can prove that it's an official Bandai product, I guess. Otherwise, I'm not really sure. If you're just buying this for yourself, for your own personal collection, what the card really does for you. Anyway, you have that card included. So, I mean, it's insanely expensive. It is certainly a very unique collector's item, though. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people who are going to be buying this, probably a good amount of people who end up buying this are not going to be building it. They just want it for their collection, which is fine. But again, I think for something like that, around $200, it would be that's still pretty expensive for a 1/44 scale Gundam. But like as a collector's item kind of thing, okay, I can understand that. But a couple things that I do want to also point out. One thing that I want to point out in a couple of photos here, close-up pictures at the photos that they put out, you can see tons of nub marks and mold lines around on the metal pieces as well. So I don't know if anyone's going to be really like wanting to file down their metal parts, because I'm assuming they're like coated metal as well. So that kind of like nice metallic coating on top of just the bare metal. And so if you're going to be trying to file down some of these nub marks or something, or like some of the divots you see like around like the edge of the shield, the forearms, around the feet, on the weapons. So that's just like you're paying $2,000 for a product like that, and then to just have it having like mold lines and nub marks from the production process on there is pretty embarrassing. Hopefully that's something that won't exist on like the actual release product. For some reason they just didn't feel the need to clean that up for their production pre-sale images here, I guess. But you would think if they want to try to convince people to drop $2,000 on this special model kit, that they would have it look a little bit more presentable and not like with these massive nub marks all over the place. So I don't know, but that's something. Let's just move on to the walking Gundam. So yeah, we got the two kits of the walking Gundam design that are going to be coming out here, a 1/44 scale and a 1/100 scale kit. So we'll talk about the 1/100 scale kit here first. And the thing is, these are both being released as P Bandai items at first, and then they'll be able to be bought there on site at Yokohama later on. So if you're not able to get it like straight away through P Bandai, and if you're planning on visiting the Gundam later on, like later on this winter or spring or something like that, you should be able to get it there on site. So these kits will be sold there as well. The 100 scale version, and also the number is not RX-78-2, it's RX-78F00. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what the F00 stands for. I'm not really sure. If you guys have any ideas, then maybe let me know. I can't really think of why it has the F00 there, but I'm sure it means something. Anyway, the RX-78F00 Gundam, both these are going to be coming out through P Bandai in September. The 100 scale version is 3,600 yen, so pretty standard kind of price for an RE kit, basically, which is usually around 3,500 yen. And important to note that this is not, as far as I've seen, it's not labeled as a master grade kit. It's just labeled as a 100 scale kit, so you can probably assume it's going to be something similar to a 100 scale RE100 kit where it doesn't have the full inner frame like that. If it had the full inner frame and all that, I'm sure they would give it the master grade label, but because it doesn't have that, I'm assuming it's not going to have a full inner frame, or it probably will have, most of a frame, parts of a frame, and also all that color separation you see there, like the two-tone blue, two-tone red, two-tone whites and everything. Not sure how much of that is going to actually be made up by separate parts with this. If it was a master grade, probably there would be a lot of separate parts for the most part, but because this is not a master grade, I think that this is probably going to be very sticker heavy, but I'm not sure. Again, we haven't really seen too much information about this except for just this first round of images. We haven't seen what the kit looks like unpainted, and that's kind of the important thing that we need to be able to tell. Though I will say, just on a personal note, I really, really don't like the design of the Walking Gundam, just because I think aesthetically it looks pretty bad. You have like panel lines going all over the place in every which direction, and it's just not very aesthetically pleasing as far as like details and panel lines go. That's my personal opinion. I know people are kind of split. So a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't like it. Me, I just happen to fall into the camp of not liking. But I will say the 100 scale version of the kit doesn't actually look all that bad compared to the actual 1-to-1 version and the 1/44 scale version. So let's go look at the 1/44 scale version then here as well. Here's the 1/144 scale version. Same number and everything, RX-78F00, P Bandai, and this one also, though, the 1/44 scale version is including the Gundam dock. So the 100 scale version comes with like a base, which was pretty cool. The 1/44 scale version comes with the full-on dock kind of cage thing that goes around it, like the 1-to-1 scale version, I should say. So that's pretty cool that that's included with this 1/144 scale version as well. Of course, the 1/44 scale version is going to be very sticker heavy, or just not having a lot of that two-tone color there at all with this. And the 1/44 scale version, I don't really like it at all. I think between the 1-to-1, the 100, and the 1/44, my favorite version, I think the best looking version, in my personal opinion, would be the 1/100 scale version. But this one is 2,500 yen. So for a 1/44 scale kit, and then like the whole docking bay thing as well too, the Gundam dock, 2,500 yen, not too bad, about 25 bucks for that, so not a bad price for the 1/44 scale version. So cool that they're making these, and again, this is just labeled as 1/44, not as HG, so I don't know what that means. It's probably going to be very similar to what it would be if it did have the actual HG label. Like, the difference between master grade and RE100 or like non-grade 1/100 scale is much different because it doesn't have like the full inner frame and all of that, but the difference between just a 1/44 and a HG by title is not, I think, not going to be that much of a difference. There's a wide range of what constitutes HG, so I think there's room to fit a non-grade 1/44 scale Gundam being kind of basically very similar, if that makes sense. So those are the model kits that have been announced for the Walking Gundam model kits based off of the Walking Gundam. I am also personally glad that these were announced because I was thinking that the upcoming Perfect Grade Unleashed RX-78-2 that they're making, basically a kind of a 2.0 version of the RX-78-2, Perfect Grade, I was worried that it was going to be based off of the 1-to-1 scale design, but now I'm thinking because they're releasing these versions, the 1/44 and the 100 scale version, I don't think that they're going to use that same design for the new Perfect Grade, which is good because I'm really looking forward to seeing what the new Perfect Grade looks like, and I would not have been happy if it looks the same as the 1-to-1 scale Walking Gundam just because I just don't like the design. So anyway, let's move on to then the P Bandai RG Sword Impulse Gundam. This is going to be out in November for 3,500 yen, and not very surprising, we had the Force Impulse RG, so it's only a matter of time until they make this, and also probably the Blast Impulse will be coming out, I would assume, probably maybe sometime next year. But the RG Sword Impulse here does look pretty cool. Of course, it has all the different weapons and gimmicks as the other different versions, the HG and the Master Grade as well, of course. The Master Grade version being the only version that is available just as a standard release. The HG and now the RG, both being P Bandai kits, does kind of suck for people who prefer 1/44 scale, but I have heard great things about the Master Grade, so if you do like the design and you didn't want to have to go through P Bandai, then I would just recommend you guys get the Master Grade. I haven't built it myself personally, but I've heard a lot of great things. It's a good kit. So that'll be coming out for fans of the Impulse Gundam here later on towards the end of the year. And then for fans of Advance of Zeta, the Advance of Zeta train is still going here with the HGUC Gundam TR1 Hazenthae Ra 2. Different from the Hazenthae 2 Ra, which was the TR6 variant based off the Woundwort. This is the version, the TR1, based off of the Hazel. So not the Hazenthae 2 Ra, the Hazenthae Ra 2. Slightly confusing there, but anyway, this one is also in November for 5,400 yen. If you guys saw my recent review of the Hazenthae kits, the Hazenthae was a really, really awesome kit, so I'm really looking forward to this variation of that. Basically, it's got like the Hurudu 2 parts on there, it's got 2 of the massive composite shield boosters, and it looks awesome. Of course, it also has the angelic V-fin, decorative V-fin on there as well, which is super cool. I gotta say, it doesn't look quite as nice as what has been put out as just like resin option parts that you can get for the Woundwort. There's a 144 and 100 scale versions of this for the Woundwort, which I think are much nicer because they're super fine detailed resin, or actually I think 3D printed parts, but those are really nice. This one, you know, it's not quite a sharp side, but the thing is, you've got it at least in plastic form. You can, you know, once you get this kit, you can sharpen it up and make it a lot more fine if you wanted to, which is what I would like to do with this once I get my hands on it. But I'm looking forward to this release quite a bit. And then the last thing here is the P Bandai HG Tri-Age Gundam. Not to be confused with the Tri-Age Magnum, which just released. The Tri-Age Gundam here is using the same mold as that, but it's just a color swapped. So we have clear red for all the effect parts instead of clear blue, and the Gundam is in the more traditional Gundam color scheme there. So this is just a special item that's just changed the colors. Also, the card that it holds in its hand, you have a different sticker, I think, for that. So the card is going to be a different card. Technically, even the mold is the same. This one is out in November as well for 2,700 yen. So this is kind of like all our P Bandai stuff for September and November, basically, is what we got announced. So we don't know about our P Bandai kits that are going to be coming out right at the very end of the year. December P Bandai kits have not yet been announced. Hopefully in 2 weeks' time, by the time for the next episode, we'll have some more stuff to talk about as far as like other standard release stuff that's going to be coming out towards the end of the year. But again, guys, I think it's just important to remember that just because of the coronavirus situation, we can assume that Bandai's production is a little bit limited. So that's probably why this year it's just kind of it's not a good situation for Bandai. It's the 40th anniversary, so they want to do all this kind of special stuff. Like the Gundarium alloy Gundam and like the 1-to-1 scale Gundam that they're working on, and also the kits for the 1-to-1 scale Gundam, but you know, they're not able to do all the production that they wanted to this year. I would assume we've had a couple of kits been delayed already this summer, and so I think, you know, the lack of news regarding new kits coming out, I think, is just related to that too. So we kind of just have to be patient with Bandai for the time being, it seems like. But that's okay. There's still a lot of cool stuff coming out one way or the other, so plenty of things to buy and build, and, you know, there's certainly no shortage of kits that are already available if you're looking for something new to build. So as always, guys, thank you so much for your support. Check the link down below to the USA Gundam Store, and you can go there and you can use my coupon code ZAKURELEASE10 to save 10% off everything there on the site. Really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for another episode. We'll see you next week as well on Tuesday. Let me check my calendar. That'll be August 11th. I'll be live here on the channel with Adam for another episode of In the Warehouse, where you guys will be able to ask your questions for Adam. So check out the live episode next Tuesday, August 11th. And until then, guys, you'll have a great week. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.